Hey everyone, hope you guys are having a good day today and that you're enjoying everything going on in this world right now and making the best of it. I just wanted today to give you guys a little bit of an update about how things have kind of been going on here at Jay's Reptiles this year, like difficulties, good things happening, hopes for the future, as well as, just a little bit of transparency with you guys. So, well, I'm going to talk a little bit about transparency just for a second, and then I'll get to it. Transparency means that I'm just going to be completely open with you guys. I'm not going to hide anything. I'm not going to keep anything away from you. There might be a surprise or a secret like, ooh, surprise clutch, or, oh, hey, I have this breeding, or there's a clutch of eggs that I'm not going to tell you about the pairing, so that way when you hatch, you're going to see it for the first time, stuff like that. But I'm never going to hide anything from you guys. And, I make mistakes and I learn from them, and I will be open about those things if I've ever missaid anything like that. And I'll talk a little bit about that in the video down the road. But I just want to be open and upfront with you guys, and I will get to all of that in just a minute. But I want to talk a little bit about just kind of how the world with, how 2020 has been going for us here at Jay's Reptiles here in Colorado and dealing with everything like that. With me today is Wash. He is our bamboo ball python. He was not in this year's spring breeding, but hopefully he will be a breeder to be paired up this coming fall. So hopefully like that. I love the bamboo ball pythons. When I first showed up, I thought they were so cool because they have this really cool, almost spider pattern down the back of them, and you can do things like that to adjust it to make it even more kind of more spider webby, really thin kind of webs and things like that, which I super love the spider ball python pattern, but everything that kind of comes with it keeps me from really getting into spiders too much. And I do have a couple spider ball pythons, but I'm not really breeding them. And if I ever do, I'm certainly going to hold on to anything or anything like that if something ever does pop up with that, or if there's something that I just know isn't going to thrive. But I'm not going to talk about that too much. So 2020, it's been super crazy, right? So, the beginning of this year, we started this channel. Hopefully, I wanted to do interviews with people because it was suggested to me that you don't do a whole lot about that. I wanted to visit a bunch of different facilities. I had interviews with people lined up in Georgia at the Reptile Symposium before it was canceled, with people in Tinley Park for the NRBC show, people from a couple different states, people from even here in Colorado who are amazing reptile breeders and doing great things, because I want to share their passion and knowledge with you guys on my channel, as well as, talking about them on their stuff too. But as we all know, that didn't really go so well. So since then, during quarantine, lockdown, whatever you want to call it, we were doing just a bunch of just different species spotlights and fun little videos here around Jay's Reptiles. But the world is starting to open up a little bit again, and moving forward with the rest of the year and into next year, maintaining safety first and foremost for both us and our reptiles. What are some things you guys want to see? I'm still wanting to do interviews and visiting different reptile facilities and things like that. But if there's anything that you would like to see me do, if it's possible, I certainly would like to do so. Let me know what you guys want to see. With that in mind, we've also somehow managed to acquire a number of animals this year before stuff kind of really got crazy. As you've all probably noticed, colubrids have been featuring very heavily lately. That's because I am getting super into colubrids, you guys, especially North American colubrids. They are so cool. They're amazing. They're varied. Their personalities are all different. They're so cool. I've been getting into Asian rat snakes a lot too. You guys have seen our rhino rat snake now. Not quite sure what I want to name her just as of yet. Not really quite sure. I like to do the different themes, as you guys know. The ball pythons are the 50 states. Finally have a name for our pastel gravel. He's going to be Nashville or Nash. But that was really cool. Super excited, looking forward to all these cool new animals. A lot of them are going to be breeding projects. A number of them are just really fascinating individual species that I just really think are amazing and I want to learn to keep. With that in mind, we also have been breeding ball pythons this year. Haven't done really anything else. Well, I had one pair of boas get together, never saw luck. I think I missed my window, to be completely honest. But we'll try again this next year. So ball pythons. Right now we have, at the time I am filming this video right now, we have one clutch out, which was a split clutch between an Orange Dream mama and then two males. One was a GHI Mojave and the other one was another Orange Dream. in that clutch, it seems like we got a super orange dream, which means that orange dream dad got there, and we also got a GHI, which means that Glacier, the GHI Mojave, also got in there. And the rest of it was mixed between orange dream and normals. So, split clutch, hooray! We have 5 clutches sitting in the incubator right now, including one that we are super excited looking forward to, you guys. There were two pairings that I was really excited for. One for which was proving out a gravel or yellow belly female. We're 99% sure she's a gravel, but we won't know until we proved her out. We put 2 different ivory males to her, so we will find out whether or not she is going to be yellow belly or she is a gravel as soon as she lays eggs or they hatch. She hasn't laid yet. We're pretty sure she's gravid. I don't have a sonogram here. I can't check. I'm not super great at checking, and every time I touch her, she touches up. She's not a happy camper 90% of the time, you guys. The other one was another really cool pairing that I've talked about in previous videos, and this is going to be that one that I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but it is a really popular snake. It has gone down in price, but it's still really popular. It's still a great combo if she proves out to be in fact het for that individual morph. And once they lay, I'm gonna do a video about it, you guys, don't worry, and hopefully she'll get quite a few, so some will be available. With that in mind, it also hasn't been the best year for us here at JZ's Reptiles. We've had a number of veterinary issues when it comes to the health of our animals. Nothing super crazy, but that's kind of part of the deal when it comes to having animals, is sometimes not everything goes right. Plans go astray. We took in a rescue ball python a couple years ago. Huge swelling all over her head. She's a lithium, so that means that she's a cinnamon lesser. She was only eating live very sparingly. She was getting pretty thin, and so we were keeping an eye on her, keeping her clean. She was starting to pound rats more and more. The swelling was starting to go down, and then at the beginning of this year, it just kind of the swelling regression just stopped. And it got a little bit bigger, and then it kind of halted right there. Not nearly as big as it was when we first caught her in as a rescue, but we didn't know what was going on because she was starting to act more like a regular ball python. Her attitude is great. She's very personable. Her body weight is amazing. Her poops are fine. She's shedding great, but there's all of this swelling all over her face, and it doesn't look good. And we don't know what's going on, so we're okay. It's time to go to the vet. There's a lot of stuff we can do for kind of home care and things like that, but I'm always a big person to say, just go to the vet, you guys. I know it can be expensive, and especially times like this, and I'll get to that in a second. It doesn't always work out great, and sometimes you can't, but always go to the vet if it's beyond your knowledge, beyond your skill. That it's going to take something to help with that. So we need to make a plans for this snake to go, as well as Carlsbad or orange dream ball python. Something happened. We don't know what. His head just overnight just swelled a lot, and we don't know what's going on with that. So now we have 2 ball pythons whose heads are super swollen. We take them to the vet. We drain some fluid from the cinnamon lesser, the lithium ball python. We do blood cultures for both of them. We do antibiotic tests for both of them. We test both of them for arenavirus. Negative for both. Negative for all these different pathogens and bacterial infections and fungal infections and viruses, other than the fact that at some point, the lithium girl, who we're just going to call Cinnamon because that's what we have to call her for the vet, Cinnamon did in fact have some respiratory infections earlier in her life. There's still a lot of that. When ball pythons get respiratory infections, they tend to always kind of have them. They can never really fully kick them. And I'm probably missaying that a little bit, but I'm just going to go with that because it's kind of nomenclature. Because respiratory infections are a really big, broad subject that everything just kind of gets grouped together like that. But I'll keep this quick. Long story short, they're both getting different antibiotic injections. Carlsbad's head, it's completely unswollen. We still don't know what's going on with it. He's in, his own quarantine. He's on paper. We're watching him, but his health is doing really good. Okay, I guess you're just going to be up there, Wash. Go for it. And Cinnamon, she's doing really good. She is very healthy. Like, if you just saw her body, you would think it's a perfect, ready-to-breed ball python. She's great. Her weight is great. Her attitude, her personality, her behavior, it's all amazing. But the swelling is starting to go down again. Hopefully it continues. If you guys are interested, I'll keep you updated, things like that. We had an iguana self-cycle. She laid a bunch of eggs. Some of them look like they might be fertile. We're like, holy moly, a pathogenic green iguana. This is crazy. None of them went full term. That's kind of a thing. That's what happens. but she passed all the eggs. It's fine. We had another corn snake, Omega. She was one of my very first snakes. Just a normal, some people call her Okatee. That's that kind of black, like broad black banding on their splotches. She's just a normal red corn snake. She is self-regulated and laid infertile eggs 3 years in a row, and we don't know why. But this year there were a couple that were really small and we didn't catch, and I think it started to go a little septic. We helped her pass them through. She was on the road to recovery, but she just didn't fully recover. And that's unfortunately a lot of things that kind of happen when you're breeding snakes. You know, we had a ball python happen a number of years ago where she went to the vet as well. She had the surgery because they kind of got glued to the inside of her. They were removed. She had to have stitches, antibiotic shots, all this stuff. She's luckily recovered since then. Unfortunately, Omega did not, which was really sad. She was one of my, where are you going, bro? She was one of my first snakes. I'm really sad to see her go. She was doing really well. We moved her into one of our new larger 71 quart colubrid tubs, and it seemed like she was doing great. She was eating really well. She was pooping fine, but I think just the stress of everything that kind of came out of her, because it looked like she had passed all of them, but we just missed it. And unfortunately, that's something that kind of happens with you guys, and I'm being open and honest with you that I'm doing everything in my power to make sure my animals are happy and healthy. Sometimes you miss stuff. Sometimes there's just things you can't that are out of your control, which was really sad to see that go. We had our redfoot tortoise, Betty, lay 3 eggs. She's a little young, but she's a great size. I don't know what it is that I'm doing with my turtles, but they seem to be growing very quickly overall. She's at a good breeding size for a redfoot tortoise, but she's a couple years young. But supposedly it takes a number of weeks for the embryo to kind of form and the veins to kind of form at the top of the egg. So I'm going to be candling them next week to see if any of them are viable. And even then, it takes over 100 days for redfoot tortoise eggs to hatch. And they're just these really adorable, pure white ping pong ball eggs, which are really cool to see. And those are going to be, maybe we'll have some baby redfoot tortoises, and I'll be a redfoot tortoise breeder all of a sudden, which will be kind of cool to see. No, you won't get any baby tortoises till they're at least 3 inches long. So, good and bad of this year. I look forward to everything that we can do from now on. It's been crazy. There's been a lot of stuff out there out of our control. Things hopefully we can do to kind of move forward with this. There's been a lot of state and federal regulation trying to impose animal right and animal welfare things. There's a bunch of stuff going on in Florida right now as I'm talking about this, about a lot of conditional species being made prohibited, all these things. USARK is fighting hard for us on that. There was stuff going on in Alabama. Here in Colorado, we had the traveling zoo legislation get put on the table again, which sounds like a good thing. It's made to stop, private zoos and things like that from moving it, but it also means that essentially, unless you're an AZA certified, animal handler, educator facility, it's illegal for you to transport anything exotic, and those are the words, exotic animals, anywhere. So people who do the animal education shows, a teacher bringing a Russian tortoise to the classroom to talk about, is technically illegal. It's not really being talked about right now. I did reach out to a number of senators and governors here in Colorado, and they said that they would, in fact, say, yeah, we have plenty of animal welfare laws here in Colorado. I will, fight for this, about this right here, which was amazing. The Tiger King came out this year, which was a little scary for all of us reptile people because it opened with Tom Crutchfield, like the granddaddy of granddaddies of reptile keepers here in the United States. And he was here for Tom, and somebody just happened to roll up with a snow leopard in their van buying snakes from Tom Crutchfield. So that was a little bit scary because it's unfortunately a bit of a parallel leap to the improper keeping and everything that was going on with all the people with Tiger King and inappropriate keepers and breeders and irresponsible people with reptiles too. So that was a little bit of a scary thing. And so now with all this federal regulation that's trying to be lumped in with like all of the COVID and Corona legislation and stuff like that, there is a very focused eye on anything animal related. And the Tiger King kind of let the world know that there are a lot of exotics out there and a lot of people who don't realize that, there's millions of reptile keepers here in the United States, and not all of them are little ball pythons. There's big snakes and big monitor lizards, and even some states where it's legal to keep crocodilians. Not all people should be having those, and thanks to shows like that and the scrutiny of animal rights groups out there, that it's now there's an eye on us, guys, and so that's why I want to continue with this moving forward, doing the best we can for open, honest discussion, proper keeping, proper information, so that way we can move forward being a great industry that can continue our livelihoods here in this country. And before, when I said I talk about transparency, I'm going to wrap this up really quick, guys, but I want to talk about that. When I said I'm going to be open and honest with you guys, I absolutely mean it. I kind of shoot from the hip when I do a lot of these videos. I make sure that I look up terms, I check different people, I check different websites. When I start throwing out numbers or information and stuff like that, another reason why I don't like to do care guides, because at some point I'm going to say something that isn't quite right, and I usually catch it post-production, and you'll see like the little numbers and stuff thrown around, but I don't always check it. And there have been a couple times where I have been acknowledged in the comments, which I really appreciate, you guys. Please keep doing that. Where I misspoke and said that boa constrictor imperator, it is in fact a new species. It's its own individual species. Boa imperator is its own species separate from boa constrictor. But I accidentally said subspecies, and someone did correct me down in the comments, and I greatly appreciate that. He wasn't a jerk about it. He had just let me know about the taxonomy change and things like that. I knew about it, but I misspoke. There you go, guys. I openly admit I said something wrong I was incorrect about. In another video, I gave like a basic lifespan of a snake. Someone corrected me down below. Absolutely. Really big thanks to you guys. I recently put out one about the Amazon milk frogs. I love those judgmental little cute little froggy faces. I had talked to several people about it before I got them themselves. Someone let me know down below about other couple credible breeders who keep them, about their dietary habits, where I was told that small dubia roaches, because they have those hard shells, they can't really digest them. Frogs are kind of soft. Their insides are a little soft. They can't handle really hard stuff digesting wise. But small, like baby dubia roaches were okay, but someone let me know down in the comments, that's not necessarily the best idea. It's hard for them to get them. Eventually they're going to outgrow, because they can hide and burrow, and they're tree frogs. They can't find them that easily, so just to avoid them outright, along with superworms, because those hard shells. And, really thank you so much for pointing that out. Absolutely, I'll admit that. Growing and learning together, all sorts of ways that we can improve. We don't have to be awful to each other. We can move forward and learn, take anything that was missaid, misspoken, not necessarily understood, not necessarily the best practices, and move forward with that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little bit of a ranty video. You got to see Wash be kind of a nutball for a second. If you guys have any questions about anything I said in this video today, questions about Jay's reptiles, hopefully by the time this comes out, I'll have some snakes available. You can let me know. You can private message me. You can, hopefully by this point, I'll have an email up too. You can email me about it, and if not, I'll let you know where to private message me about it. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Please let me know if you have any questions. Any of you guys out there that are watching and commenting on this, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know it's not anything great. We recently passed 100 subscribers. For me, that was amazing. It's been really kind of slow going for this channel, but it seems like there are a consistent number of you guys who are watching it and are taking this to heart. Thank you so much. Hopefully you are enjoying this. Hope you guys are doing okay out there in this crazy world that we live in right now, and you're having an okay time and you're moving forward with you can. I know things are hard. It's certainly been hard for us here just with the animals like you heard about. Hopefully everything's going great for you guys, and I'll catch you next time.